So I was watching Pestily's Point 10 First Impressions video that he came out with not too long ago, which is a video you should definitely check out. I'll throw a link to the video and his channels down in the description. There was one thing that he mentioned that I was really excited to test out.
I'm so happy about this. This is going to make like shoreline raids and interchange raids. Even if your FPS are dropping, at least your bullets are going down range and you can actually kill some people.
So that was one of the things I was really looking forward to with Point 10. But after a week or so of playing it, I kept experiencing the same sort of frame and fire rate issues as I did in Point 9. So what gives? Pestily is always pretty damn spot on with all of his research that he does, so in order to figure out what was going on here, I needed to do some more science myself. So I want to make this a relatively short video, so I'll just get this out of the way now and say that I did in fact confirm that what Pestily had noticed was correct, with one caveat. It only applied to guns fired in fully automatic. Now lately I've been using the Vepr, RSAS, and M1 a lot, and anytime I leave factory and experience the frame drops we all know and love at this point, I find myself dying much more due to the game being seemingly unable to keep up with my mouse clicks. My fucking frame rate is making it so I can't shoot. I'm dead, chat. So naturally, I've been complaining about this when I'm streaming, and there's been a few folks in chat and on Reddit that have told me it has nothing to do with my frame rate, that I'm not clicking fast enough, or whatever. So in my experience, there's no better cure for being salty than vindication. So of course I had to test this as objectively as I could. Now for anyone that's hung around the stream long enough, you'd know that music and rhythm are sort of my thing. So of course I had to channel my inner musician and bust out the metronome to try and control for one of the most important variables here that I wanted to be a constant, the rate at which I click the mouse. Now given the controversy over people thinking I use a trigger macro, I've done a few click tests lately, so I knew that my average was somewhere around 8 clicks per minute when I'm trying to be as fast and controlled as possible. Now at 8 CPM I find it pretty hard to be consistent with my click speed, so I decided to settle on setting the metronome at 210 beats per minute so I could use it as a steady guide and click along with it at 7 clicks per minute, a more comfortable but still decently fast fire rate for this test. Now as per my usual science testing, I hopped into factory offline mode and switched my FPS limit to see if there was going to be a difference between the actual fire rate of my gun at different frame rates, using two of my favorite guns, the RSAS and the M1. Now as you can see, when the game was running at about 60 FPS, the RSAS had no problem keeping up with my mouse clicks pretty much one for one. So now compare this to how it performed when the game was running at 30 FPS. So yeah, that's pretty bad. One of my previous videos had somebody commenting about the M1 not having this issue, so I decided to test with the M1 as well. Now as with the RSAS, at 60 FPS, the rate of fire on the M1 was as expected, although at about 30 FPS, the rate of fire wasn't too much worse by comparison, but still had a few skipped rounds over the course of a 50-round drum. So that's actually really interesting. It appears to affect different guns differently. So the next observation I had during this testing was that there was a noticeable delay between clicking the mouse and the actual gun firing. Now I record at 60 FPS, so each frame of my video represents just under 2/100ths of a second. What I measured here was that there was about a 2-frame delay between clicking and shooting when the game is running at 60 FPS, or about 3/100ths of a second, and a 6-frame delay between clicking and shooting when the game is running at about 30 frames per second, which is a 1/10 of a second delay, 3 times more. So overall this means that when your frames drop significantly, a large number of your mouse clicks are ignored, and the ones that aren't ignored are delayed by up to a 1/10 of a second. So when I do fast bursts of semi-auto fire, my accuracy depends on timing, the lining up of my shots, and clicking the mouse button. So combine a long delay between the click and the bang with a large percentage of clicks being ignored, and you're going to have a pretty bad time in Tarkov. Also, before anybody complains, after recording this I realized that having a wireless mouse might have contributed to this delay, so I went and retested a bunch with my wired mouse, and I'll just say here that I saw no difference in the delays. Kudos to Logitech, I guess, on that one. So all of this testing was done in offline mode, so of course at the end of all this I'm here wondering how the hell all of this translates into online mode and if my results were valid in any way. So to try and be as thorough and accurate as possible for myself, you guys, and for Battlestate, I grabbed a viewer of mine, Fabs for Fun, who also happens to be a content creator himself, to give me a hand testing. Now if you guys want to thank me for putting this video together, I'd ask you go check out Fabs and Pestily out and throw them subs and follows. I'll put their links down in the description below. So anyway, here are the results of the same sort of testing I did, but from both perspectives in online mode. So given that my clicking was less consistent here, and the consistency of the 30 FPS shots were all over the place anyway, I'm actually quite amazed at how perfectly synced the two perspectives were. So I guess kudos to Battlestate on this one, as I remember noticeable delays in this stuff between two different players before point 10. So if they can sort out this issue with the semi-auto fire rate being limited when frame rate drops, this would be amazing, as point 10 feels pretty damn sweet so far. So as usual guys, thanks for sitting through another Tarkov science video. If you found this interesting, or this issue is something you've been experiencing and would like to see it fixed soon, it would mean a lot to me if you threw a like and a comment on the video with your thoughts or suggestions. The more love the video and the channel gets, the more stuff like this will positively affect the already fantastic ongoing development efforts going on over at Battlestate. See you guys later.